Hey folks, okay, happy Sunday afternoon. Don and I are just in the parking lot and we were having a little discussion and... You okay? Okay. So we're having a little discussion here and, I don't know how many of you know this, but Donna's black and she identifies as black, right? Even though she's as white as I am. She wasn't always. She lost her color over the years. But the point is, we're talking about racial slurs, right? And I'm just going to say it because, I'm going to speak the whole truth here, and that's what you get from me. And it's not to offend anybody. She gets offended sometimes about stuff. If somebody says something about black people or black whatever, and she overhears it, it bothers her because, she's black and she's got a half black daughter or whatever. Okay. But me, I don't know. I used to go to an all-black school as the only white person when I was really young, and I was attacked all the time, and I was called a wigger, I was called a wasp, I was called cracker, all kinds of stupid things. I don't get offended. I've been called ugly, fat, whatever. The only thing that really bothers me, and I don't even know why, but the only thing that bothers me, and probably because it was used against me for most of my life, even though it made no sense, even when it doesn't make sense. I guess what bothers me is when it doesn't make any sense and you're throwing these things away. But when people used to call me a faggot or whatever, it was something that a lot of the guys growing up, among the straight guys, the football players, whatever, I guess it was the most demeaning thing that you can say to irritate somebody. And so everybody was a faggot. Forgive my language, but I'm just saying, faggot in the English language is a bundle of sticks. It's also a cigarette. Okay? And I think the English or British language is a cigarette. So it was normal for someone to say, instead of, hey, can I bum a cigarette from you? Or can I have a cigarette? Hey, let me have a fag. Do you have an extra fag? Let's go smoke a fag. So I don't know how that turned from cigarette and bundle of sticks into a gay attack word. I have no idea, but whatever. So knowing this, it didn't usually bother me that much. And I used to think that they were targeting me or whatever. But then I realized that all the football players now, they would just play around and call each other homo, faggot, whatever. And it was just immature, stupid behavior in middle school and high school. Guys will be guys, among other worse things to call each other. But it was a joke, Then when I was a bartender at the gay clubs, because in my 20s I really desperately needed a job and it paid good, so I worked as a bartender and a bar back in some gay nightclubs in New Haven. And I would hear, while the drag queens are walking down the street, you'd hear straight people, homophobes, yelling and catcalling them, calling them faggot and stuff, and they'd get really upset and offended. But then they'd come into the club, and as soon as they walk in the door, it was all these really flamboyant, tutti-frutti gay guys. Hey, girl! Oh, girl! Hey, bitch! Excuse my language, but this is how they talk. Hey, bitch! Oh, this is my faggot. Hey, fag! Hey, how you doing, faggot? Hey, fag! And I'm like, why do you do that to each other? Why would you... That's a greeting? And so I told them, because they did that to me when I came into work, and they thought it was funny. Oh, hey, faggot. I'm like, dude, you want to lose your teeth? Then don't ever call me that. Because I will reach over this bar, and I will knock your teeth out. And I have a couple times. I mean, I'm not encouraging this, but I'm the kind of person who you can say what you want, whatever, but you touch me or whatever, I'm gonna hit you. Or I used to be that way before I was a Christian anyway. And so many people got punched in the face or other things, thrown out of the club, thrown over bars if you laid your hands on me, touched me inappropriately, insisted on saying the wrong thing. One of them was one of my bosses. He kept antagonizing me one day in a diner after work, and he thought it was funny to keep hitting me in the head and saying something, and I kept saying, stop, 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 stop. And it was right in front of a cop who was in the next table over and a bunch of employees. And finally I just turned around and bam, and I punched him so hard his head went through the window. And he's like, oh, you just hit me. Oh my God. Ah. And I'm like, how many times do I got to tell you to stop before you get it through your head? Maybe your wig is on too tight or something. You used to like to dress in drag or whatever. Cut the circulation off to your brain. You don't understand what stop means. Don't play that with me. Don't touch me. And so, I wasn't trying to be violent, but if somebody keeps touching you and you're not comfortable with it, and you ask them 5 times, please stop, it's not funny, stop, bam, this was like 5 strikes and you're out, not even 3. I gave her extra 2 strikes. Anyway, our point is, as a mature adult and a Christian, when you become humble, you don't care what people really say or think. I'm called fat now. Yep, I own it. Ugly. Okay, well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Faggot doesn't really bother me because it doesn't apply to me. But what I don't like is when people get offended by certain terms, and then they go and freely call each other the same things. Or with black people, the N-word. If a white person or a Spanish or Chinese person ever called them that, they'd shoot them. It would be all game over. But then they go and to their other brothers and sisters who are also black, and hey, and they call each other that word, okay? Now, they also feel like it's okay to call me, a white guy, a cracker, a wasp, a wigger, whatever. During 8th grade, when we all thought we were black gangbangers and stuff and listening to, rappers and this and that, my guy friends used to sag their pants and listen to hardcore rap like DMX and all that, and I had to go along with it all just to be in the group. And we would call each other, hey, wigger, hey, whatever, or the N-word. And, it's stupid because, it wasn't an insult, it was a camaraderie thing or whatever. But it was dumb. But then when we would go to New Haven or whatever, we couldn't say that because if you were around other black people, they'd be like, what? And no, we're not talking to you, we're talking to each other. No, that don't matter. You ain't black, so you don't use that word. And it's just like, okay, so that always bothered me, the hypocrisy, the double standards. They call each other the N-word all the time, but if somebody else uses it, even towards another white person, it's off limits. What I'm trying to say, and then it's the same thing with the SPIC word for Spanish people, or wetbacks or whatever, or gringos, Italians, whatever they call me. I'm an Italian, so I used to get a lot of The point is all the name calling, all the stupidity, right? People like to segregate themselves. They complain about not being equal. They complain about segregation, but then they segregate themselves and put themselves into the same class that they do, right? That they do not want to be a part of. It makes no sense. Can we all just stop? Sometimes if you have to explain, pick a person out, okay, there's 10, 20 people in a room or in a parking lot, and you're trying to point out one specific person, you might have to say the black person or the white person or the Chinese lady or whatever. It doesn't mean that we're being racist just because we called out their race. It's just trying to identify which person we're talking about. Now, if they're wearing a clown suit, well, then the clown. If they're wearing a baby blue shirt and there's nobody else, okay, the guy in the baby blue. So you try to leave out the race, but to me, if I use race, it's not to insult. It's just identity. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with someone being Italian or Spanish or Indian or black. To me, see, I don't think that way. So what I'm trying to say is, you can call me whatever you want. Unless I'm in a super, super bad mood, I'm probably not going to get offended. I don't care because I know the truth. And it doesn't change my life or affect me any other, and no matter what you call me. Okay? I don't know why more people can't be like me. Why do you get offended by racial slurs? Why do you think so highly of yourself? When God says we're all equal in his eyes, it doesn't matter. God doesn't see color or gender or rich or poor. He sees humans. That's it. So why get offended? That's a sign of pride. It's a sign of pride if you're easily offended. Okay? Now, if somebody pops you in the mouth, that's a different story. But it's a sign of pride if you get easily angered and offended all the time by things that people say or think about you. You gotta shrug it off. And I understand that some people, like even Donna, you know, can tell you horror stories about when she was growing up during civil rights. And, you know, she was often the only black woman around, and she was mugged by white people. She was, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yet she liked to date mostly white guys. Apparently her daughter's father was white, right? Yeah?
He was.
Okay. So she, you know.
50-50.
So the point is, Donna's wasn't racist either, but she's had her share of being on the opposite end of being the victim of racism, right? You could either let this world make you jaded, or you can just, you know what, try to keep being you and be what's good about the world. You have a choice. You either let the world roll you over and get angry and start taking out everybody else. It's not going to solve anything. Doesn't fix anything. Or you can just be strong and say, okay, that's not right, whatever, but I'm too big for this. I got more important things to do, like being a Christian. And people, this is why Christianity is so important, because if you don't fear God and judgment, these little trivial, stupid things are going to be all that you care about, and they're going to lead you to hell. Life is too short and eternity too long to worry about stupid offenses all the time. Real Christians learn not to take offense, because we don't live for ourselves anymore. We live for God. It's Jesus who lives in us. And so he says, turn the other cheek. Like, we don't care. We're not full of ego and pride where it's like, oh, you offended me. Oh, we don't exist anymore. We're trying to be a saint. We're trying to be Jesus. And so Steve can't get offended if Steve's dead in baptism and it's Christ who lives in him now, right? So why get offended? Like, in other words, we got priorities, folks, and they're so much more important than stupid things like offense and, you know, slander and this and that. The second thing I'd like to say, which I know people are going to hate me for, but it's true. The reason why the LGBTQ thing is so bad and evil, it's not just that God says it's disordered or God doesn't want two men together or two women together. That's bad enough. That's unnatural. It goes against God and his laws and the natural law, whatever. But when you go further now, if you really know what the LGBTQ XYZ is all about, because it keeps getting longer for a reason, you give that community an inch, which we did, Stonewall, whatever, equal rights, marriage rights, whatever. Now, kids are being transgendered. Pedophilia has never been more on the rise than it is now. It is becoming legalized. Sex trafficking is at an all-time high, especially with children. The perversion goes further than just two people of the same sex. Now, it's, hey, we have all the colors of the rainbow for a reason. Actually, it's not true. God's rainbow, the real rainbow, is 7 colors. 7 is completion, perfection. 6 is the devil's number, and is 6 colors in the rainbow in a gay pride flag. But the reason, and don't tell me that I can't talk about this, because I was one of them, and I was in the LGBTQ, and I was Mr. Gay Connecticut, so I don't want to hear it, because I was deeply in there. So I can talk about it. Just like, you know, you can't call me a faggot, but another gay person can call me a faggot, and it's okay, right? Or if one black person uses the N-word against another, that's okay, because they're both black. But if a white person does it, that's racist, right? So don't tell me what I can and cannot say about the LGBTQ, because I've been there. I know all about it. All about it. I worked in it. I lived there. I got a lot of friends and family who are still that way. I got out of that a long time ago because I pursued Christ and he changed me, and I have no interest in that anymore. God can literally do that. So when you say, oh, you can't change your orientation, BS, you don't know Jesus. Yeah, he can. And that's what we're trying to tell you. But if you want to continue being a little LGBTQ whatever, then go ahead. Go to hell. What do you want me to say? But don't go to God and say, oh, I don't like Jesus, or he can't help me. No, you don't want to change. Because if you really want to change, Jesus will change you. You have to ask. Okay? You have to be serious about it. He changed me. He can change anybody. And I see it all the time. I see lesbians happily married to men and vice versa. So I don't want to hear it. I also know trans people who have killed themselves or died of AIDS or wish that they all told me that they wish they never had the surgery. Every one of them said, I really wish I had listened and not done that. Dressing in drag once in a while is one thing because that you can change it. Once you cut your genitals off, you can never go back to being the same. And they suffer terrible problems after that. And just suicide attempts, and it's just their whole thing is screwed up. It's not natural. If God wanted you to be a man, you'd be a man. If he wanted you to be a woman, you'd be a woman. And so when you go messing with this stuff, you're gonna have consequences in this world and the next. Now, the problem with the LGBTQ is once you gave them an inch, you don't understand what's behind that gay pride flag. That's Satan's flag. And there's a whole reason. I can explain it in detail about why Satan's colors are the rainbow. He masquerades as an angel of light. What is light in its natural form? It's not white light that you see. It's colors of the rainbow. If you put light through a prism, you'll see a rainbow. So when it's filtered light, it's rainbow colored. That's why he was an angel of light. He was the light bearer. He's now all darkness, but he still wants to be perceived as Lucifer, the light bearer. Also, light is an illumination of conscience. Oh, you're so much wiser. I'll give you the wisdom of God, which he doesn't even have himself, but he lies. He's a liar. He's been a liar, a deceiver, a thief, and a murderer since the beginning. Anyway, he came up with the whole LGBT thing, and he also uses the rainbow to mock God, because God was so upset with the world when they were doing these things before that he flooded the whole earth. So now Satan can't take the real rainbow because that's God's mark, promising he will never flood the earth again. But it stands there as a beautiful warning. Don't push me, I'll do it again, but next time by fire. That's what that means. People say, oh, look how pretty the rainbow is. That's God's warning saying, listen, I flooded and killed everybody before and I'll do it again, but next time by fire. Okay? So the devil takes the rainbow and he uses 6 colors instead of 7. People don't know that history either. So you give this community what they want, and we did. And now look what happens. It's not just about marriage between 2 men and 2 women, or equality, marriage rights, and insurance and medical insurance. No. Now, in that community, I'm telling you, it's not just gay people. There's pedophiles, there's trans, there's drag queens, there's drug and alcohol abuse, there's rape. I've been a victim of it a few times. Gang rape. There's bestiality. There's all different colors and flavors. That's what the LGBT celebrates. Whatever you want. And this is their motto, and it's always been true. They won't tell you this, but inside they will tell you. We're already going to hell anyway. We're considered a damned and abomination by God. So, you know what? Do whatever you want then. Out of sheer rebellion to God, because we are not happy with him, because he doesn't accept us the way we are, and we don't accept his ways. So let's just do whatever we want. You think it's bad, God? Well, guess what? Then we'll just do this. And they take it further and further and further. And it's not just because they're gay that this happens, but it's because sin, evil. If you give evil an inch, it will take 10 miles. We gave them an inch when we let them have gay marriage and equality and all that stuff. And now they want to change church teaching and doctrine. They want to force marriages in the church. They want to tell us what we can and can't do. They want to change the Bible. I mean, it's gone from Stonewall to this so quickly. It's sin. Evil is like a cancer. It only takes one little crack in the hull of a boat to sink the whole boat. You can't mess with it. Sooner or later, the boat will sink if you don't plug that hole. Cancer, if you leave a little bit in the body, within a few months, it can spread and kill you. You've got to remove it all, and unless you get it all, you are not ever cured of cancer. You might delay it, you might live a few more years, but sooner or later, it will spread all over the place. Sin is a cancer to your soul and to society. Anything that goes against God's law and natural law is a cancer or a sin, and it causes death. Sin equals death. Cancer equals death. A hole in your boat in the middle of the ocean equals drowning, death, trouble. Okay? You've got to handle sin or evil or disorder, anything, any way you want to cut it. Sin, cancer, evil, disorder, departing from God's law or natural law. I'm telling you the truth here. You let it go, it will spread rapidly like a forest fire. It only takes one little spark, one little cigarette butt to start a whole forest fire, and next thing you know, all of Montana's burned down. Started from a little spark. You give the devil a spark of an inch, and before you know it, look, now they're coming after our kids. They're transing children who haven't even hit puberty. They don't even, why should kids have to even worry about sex or think about whether they're, homosexual or not? Let them grow up and figure it out themselves. Let them be kids. When I was a kid, we didn't have smartphones and all that. We played with frogs and turtles. We went in the woods. We did stuff. We went hiking. We had fun. We played video games. Now, these kids hardly ever go outside or get dirty. Come on, let's go. It's hot as hell in here. I'm soaking wet. I'm soaking wet with sweat. It went from freezing cold yesterday to like 90 degrees. I can't stand New England. Look at this. I'm soaked. It's so hot in this car. Just sitting in the sun. Anyway, so the point is, people, I don't care if you agree with it or not. And don't come at me saying I'm a hater, a bigot, or racist, or anti-gay, or homophobic. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm somebody with many years of first-hand personal experience. So I can say it. And I know what I'm talking about because I lived it. Okay? I lived it for many years. So don't tell me what I can and can't preach about or say, or that I'm wrong. And you know what? Inside you all know I'm not wrong. And I'm telling you, the devil is behind it all. And, you don't want to put two and two together. It couldn't be more clear. The Christians know this. We've always known. But until you really become a Christian, you might not be able to see this. We've got to stop. Now it's too late. The cat's out of the bag. It ain't going to go back in. Claws are out. Now we've got a serious mess on our hands that you can't change the laws back. You can't take away freedoms that you gave that should never have been given in the first place. And now look, it went from just marriage between two people, two consenting adults, to children being transed and abused and people marrying their dog, their cat, people identifying as different, anything other than human. Some people think they're robots, aliens, cats, dogs. They're marrying goats. They're sleeping with, it's called bestiality. In that community, that's why it's called the alphabet community, anything goes. Any form of anything that's not normal, not natural, or godly is in that community. That's why there's so many colors to the flag, covers everything. That's why there's so many letters, and we'll just keep adding letters to it. Because it just keeps growing, like cancer will keep growing, a tumor will keep growing, sin and evil will keep growing, like a forest fire, taking more and more ground now, which is why the Christians were so adamant about not allowing things, because we knew that if you do this, you might as well just set the whole world on fire. And so we were overruled. And now look, and then the same thing with Trump supporters. We were overruled, and look what you got in power now, and look what they've done. And they're going to continue to do it. And here's the scary thing. Most of you don't care. You don't care. You actually agree with it. You actually like everything that the LGBTQ stands for and does. What does that say about you as a human being and your morals and ethics and integrity? And you know what? You don't believe in God or heaven or hell anyway. Oh, just be happy. Just live life. Whatever. Just be happy. Do what you want. Okay. What kind of person are you then? No rules, no morals, no fear of God or hell? Okay. Then the Democrat crap. Oh, liberal crap. Look what they're doing. Oh, well, we hate people who are conservative and traditional, so we hate Trump and we hate Republicans. Okay. Look what you've done to the country. Every time you get one of those Democrats in there. So you see why people like me are fed up now? And you guys will keep voting. You'll keep voting for Biden or Kamala or whatever. You'll just keep doing it. You vote for people who want all this godlessness. All of this alphabet mafia crap. All of this whatever, do whatever you want stuff. Liberation. Every civilization eventually perishes. It gets too big for its britches and it collapses on itself. And that's where we are at now. Because of this. Every time you go lawless and rampant and just do whatever you want, it becomes chaos and division, anarchy, and then destruction. There are laws for a reason. to keep order, to keep life going. When you get rid of all that and everybody just says, hey, I'll be my own God and do whatever I want to do, if everybody thinks that way, they're all selfish and self-centered and they don't care about anyone else but themselves, then you're going to be getting stabbed in the back pretty soon or shot over a piece of bread. Because it's every man for themselves Marxist mentality. And you don't see it and you don't care. Well, you will all care pretty soon. But all I can say is I encourage anyone who watches this, please do yourself a very big favor. Come out of the world and become a Christian, a real Christian. Get out of this mentality and this foolishness, because you will go down in flames with the rest of them. The majority is going down in flames. I got out. Many of us are getting out. A lot of Hollywood stars are getting out. People are waking up. If you insist on continuing being indifferent or part of the problem, then that's exactly what they want from you. They want to exterminate you. The very people you vote into power want you dead and gone. The devil that you worship, he's your God. He wants you dead and in hell with him. You don't understand what you're doing. Your only hope is, this world's already screwed up. It's too bad. It ain't going to get any better at this point. Get out of it. Band together with other Christians. You'll live longer that way, but we will be annihilated. But guess what? We win in the end. You'll have a great eternity. I mean, you'll have at least a good eternity. But if you don't, and you think this is bad, wait till you see hell. And that's forever. You will go from the pot into the fire, out of the pan and into the fire, if you do not become a Christian and do it now. That's what's waiting for you. You know, so we can't be screwing around anymore. If it's not obvious to most mankind by now, this is not a war between men and women and LGBT and Christian. No, this is between God and the devil. This is literally a very clear divide now between sheep and goats, tare and wheats, good and evil. That's it. It has nothing to do with anything else anymore. It's literally, you're either left or right. You're either Jesus or Satan. No in between. Some of you like to straddle the fence. Well, then you're automatically by default, because God's not going to play with you. He will spit you out of his mouth. He says that's lukewarm. You can never outdo God. So I suggest that the holier you become, the more you sacrifice, God, the more you get merits in heaven. The more you give up, even if you shed your blood for him, good. This isn't a matter of hair color, tattoos, or anything. It's a matter of, listen, even if it's not going to send you to hell, give it up anyway, because you love God. He will appreciate that. Anything we can do at this point, the remnant faithful, to show that we still love him, even if we don't have to do it, it's the thought that counts. To show him that he didn't die in vain, and that we are worth saving, and that we do love him, and that he even said, if I can trust you with little, I can trust you with a lot, and greater will be your reward. So if you give up things, you start fasting and doing penance and praying even more, and maybe giving up things, worldly things and habits, not because you have to, but because you want to, for him, even if he doesn't ask you to do it. He's going to accept that as a I love you gift. Wow, you didn't have to do that. I know it makes you happier to do that. But because of me, you're not doing it anymore because you love me? Wow. That's how God sees it. So we can never be holy enough. We can never sacrifice enough. We can never deny ourselves enough. We can never outgive God. You know what I mean? In generosity. So you need to get that mentality. You know, give it all. Jesus says, listen, if somebody asks you for some clothing, give them your coat too. You know, or if they sue you, give them your jacket and the clothes off your back too while they're at it. Let them have it all. Great will be your reward, because God will see that. If somebody asks you to walk with them a mile, walk with them 2 miles, even though they didn't ask. He wants us to go above and beyond for each other, because that's love. To do something that you're asked or expected, that's not love. That's just obedience. And that is important. But When you go the extra mile, that's love. That's love. That's how you prove that, oh, I'm not going to just buy you a rose. I'm going to give you a dozen roses. I'm not going to just give you, a jacket. I'm going to give you a gift card so you can buy a whole bunch of jackets for yourself. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to just feed you for a day. I'm going to teach you how to fish so you can always feed yourself. And so if God wants us to treat other humans that way, how should we be treating him? Now you could say, well, yeah, but he said if you do it to these people, you're already doing it to me because I live in them. Yes, but God's still not human. He's above us, so we should be doing more for him. He'll take the minimum you give him, as any good parent will. It's like, okay, you're a mother or a father and you love your kids, right? And you know your kids don't have money to buy you nice gifts for Christmas. So maybe they'll make you a coloring, or they'll make you something out of macaroni or something. And you'll say, oh, how sweet. It's my favorite gift because it comes from the heart and you made it. And you're like, this is tacky, but you're not going to tell the kid that because it does come from the heart. And it's all they can give you, right? So it matters to you because that's the best they can do. But now say they're a multimillionaire and they can give you good stuff, but they're still giving you things made out of macaroni. Or, oh, here, I colored a pirate for you on some paper. Here, Ma, you're 44 years old, you got $2 million in the bank, and this is what you give me for Christmas? A drawing, like you're 5? Well, but it's the thought that counts. You liked it when I was 5. You're capable of better, right? Like, this is insulting. This shows me that I'm not worth anything to you. That you didn't even put any thought into it. You could have at least bought me a gift. You know what I mean? So God sees us depending on... A good example of this, and I got to get going, is the woman. Okay, the Pharisees put money in, to their tithe, and then this old woman, this old widow, she only had 1 penny left to her name, and so she put the penny in, and they all scoffed at her and said, "We all gave a lot of money, and this woman, she only gave us a penny." And Jesus said, "Why?" This is why he says not to judge people, because you don't know what God knows about people. He said, yeah, but who do you think gave more? You gave 10% of your income. She gave all of her income. All she had left in the world was a penny. So what do you want her to do? She didn't even have to do that. And she gave the penny. So that penny, in comparison to what you could do, being rich, is a lot more valuable to God than what your little gift. Because if you only gave $10, $100, but you got $1 million, and then somebody like me only puts a penny in because that's literally all we have. And let me tell you how scary it is. You know how many times there's been times where I didn't even have a single penny. Other than God, I don't know how I survived. God got me through. There were many times in my life I didn't even have a single penny to my name. I'm not exaggerating. Nothing. Not a penny. And God fed me, got me through, sent people to help. Because he knew that I'd give $1 million if I could. And all I had was and there's been times where I've literally only put a penny in the basket. And worse, some people think this is insulting to God. But I remember that parable about the woman and the penny. There were times, and I'm not kidding you, where I didn't have a penny to my name, and I'm going to church and I have nothing to give the Lord. And I found a penny on the ground outside in the parking lot. And I picked it up and I put it in the basket. Because, why not? Like, it's all I had. So, I did. And people looked at me like, is that a joke? And I'm like, no, actually, that's all I really have. Come on, that's not possible. No, it really is. And in fact, I had to borrow that. That wasn't even mine. Thank God I found it on the floor. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to put anything in the basket. So what's better? Nothing or your last penny? Or anything? I'd rather put a penny in there for a tithe than nothing at all. Especially if it's free. You see what I'm saying, people? You got to look at things the way God sees things. It is a very big deal. In fact, another thing I got to say, because I was so angry again this Sunday. This is like 3-4 Sundays in a row now. Donna and I sit in the very first row for a bunch of reasons. I get very easily distracted. People are very rude. They got kids running all over, banging doors throughout the entire Mass. That is sinful. To talk during Mass or have all that ruckus going, and not to discipline your children, especially in church or public places. Well, this woman started coming to church with her family. She wears skin-tight black leather pants, very inappropriate, a lot of makeup, red hair, and she's got this little girl next to her, and she's trying to teach her Catholicism. And they literally talk pretty darn loud, and they're only in the second row from the altar, and I'm right in front of her, so it's right behind my head, and I can't even hear what's going on 10 feet in front of me at the altar, because this woman's going and telling her daughter, and the daughter's asking a million questions. Oh, what's that? Why does he stand that way? What's he doing now? Blah, blah, blah. And she's talking, and I'm like, I wanted to turn around and be like, shut up! That is so disrespectful and sinful. He's consecrating the host, and you're talk. Like, this is not a place to be teaching your child. Go and talk to her later. Tell her to write down her questions. Get a video on it. Go read a book. I don't know. You don't teach people during the Mass. You don't smack gum. You're not on the phone. You don't talk. And then when people started leaving, at the end of Mass, we're all trying to sing a song. Now, it's a cappella now, because during Lent, we don't use the organ. So people have to sing. So more people sing now, because the organ and the choir are not singing. The organist and the choir. It's just us singing with the organist, just vocal. A lot of Protestants say, oh, you Catholics don't do praise and worship. Yes, we do, but at the end of the Mass. So when it finally comes to giving God the praise and thanks through our singing, like coming together and singing beautifully to the Lord, everybody starts talking and running out the door to try to get out the parking lot and catch up on their gossip. So it's an uproar, like a really loud, of all these voices and people talking so loud, and it echoes through the cathedral. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to sing. It's not over until the song ends, people. Why are you, if you don't want to sing, at least stand there out of respect to the organist, who, that's his job, and to the rest of us who are singing our hearts out and trying to sing as loud as we can over your noise. Be respectful to Jesus. He's trying to get people to sing to him, and you're doing that. What is so important? You got to talk right there in the pew. Go outside and talk. It's a beautiful day. Then they go to the back of this church, and they don't even go out, and they just talk really loud at the back of the church. Go out the doors. Then they stand and crowd up the vestibule area, and it echoes all the way up to, oh my gosh, go outside and talk. Do you not know it is a sin to talk in church, ever? Did you not know that? In a Catholic church, Jesus is always present there in the tabernacle. That's God Almighty. Did you fall and hit your head on the pavement or something and forget this? When you go into a Catholic church, I'm not talking about Protestantism. We're talking about a Catholic church. Jesus is in there. Now, if you saw him standing there in full form, you'd be on your knees, begging him, crying, praying. You would not be just talking to your friends about whatever, sports or whatever. You'd be in reverence and awe. He's still very much there invisibly, and you act like that? You act like that. Ignorant, stupid, no fear of God, no respect. I am tired of it. I am harsh in my videos because I'm not talking to idiot people who don't know anything about Jesus, who are outside the church. I'm not talking about Protestants. I'm not talking about non-religious people, period. Non-Christians. I'm talking to you Catholics. How many times must we go over this? Do you think it's going to change? The rules are going to change? Jesus' law is going to change? Some of you have been going to church your whole life. You know better. You know better than to behave that way. You don't do that in the library. You don't do that in a hospital waiting room. You don't do that in the work office. You don't do that in a movie theater. You don't do that anywhere else, do you? Why? How dare you do it in God's house? How dare you be so stupid and disrespectful and loud and obnoxious and let your children run around like it's friggin' daycare in the house of the Lord? The one place that's on this earth that is supposed to be kept sacred. I am sick of it. Sick of it. And I sit in the front pew, not because I'm holier than thou, but because every time I'm late and I'm stuck in the back, I can't hear or pay attention to anything. And then at the end of Mass, when you're supposed to be, you just receive Holy Communion. This is not fast food drive-through where you receive Jesus and run out the door. And I see a lot of you doing that. Shame on you. You're going to go to hell for that, because the Mass is not over yet. You do not leave until the priest leaves, because you just received the Lord. It's not just something we do like a Protestant in memory. He's really in you. You can damn yourself by doing that. Do you not know? Not to mention, you don't want to leave without the final blessing of the priest, because that could be the last time you ever get a chance to go to Mass. And if you die, you're not going to get the last blessing of the priest that can literally get you to heaven. How foolish. The Blessed Mother herself said this in an apparition. Please tell people don't do that. It's disrespectful to my son. And that last final blessing to seal the whole deal of the Mass, it could be their very last chance to get a blessing from a priest, from my son. Jesus is doing it, not the priest. Jesus is giving you a special prayer and blessing of protection before you leave and go back out into this dangerous world. And you're just going to forfeit that, which means you forfeited the whole hour. The whole Mass is nothing now. Do you realize that? Oh, nobody taught me that. No, we read the catechism. Go back to school. I don't know what you got to do. Wake up. If you're going to be a Christian, you better learn how to be a Christian, or don't bother. You're being an idiot. Stupid. It's not going to help you or anyone. Do you understand that? He's going to spew you out of his mouth. So either do it right or don't bother. And if you're going to be a Catholic, there's rules. There's a certain way we do things for a reason. So don't go into the church and cause trouble. If you don't want to be a Catholic, go be a Protestant. But if you're going to come into a Catholic church and claim to be Catholic, you know better. Much more is expected of you. Much more is taught you and given you as a responsibility. So if you don't like it, get out. But don't ruin it for the rest of us. Because we actually fear going to hell. And I can't. So today, again, as always, I'm trying to just sit and just spend time with the Lord and hear Him. And I couldn't, because I got these new people who just came from another church, these two Spanish women, praying the rosary obnoxiously loud. Hail Mary, full of grace, right behind me. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you just tone it down a bit? I want you to pray. But you don't got to pray so loud that the whole church is echoing with your rosary. That's not how you do that. Second of all, those other chatty Cathys in the back, bunch of old women, oh Father, doting over, go outside, cackling old heads. I couldn't hear my own thoughts, let alone the Lord. And I'm like, so I got so mad, I literally yelled in front of everybody, because everybody was talking, and it was so, I literally said, Lord, I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying to me, because these people won't shut up. And then I stormed out of the church, and they all looked at me like, yeah, because literally, he was trying to talk to me, and I couldn't hear him in his own house, when I can't get any closer to the altar. I was on my knees at the altar rail, and I still couldn't hear what he's trying to tell me, because you're all talk about whatever stupid stuff, and you're not you just received Holy Communion so you can commune with the Holy One. He wants to talk to you. You don't listen. That's what you just do, your own thing. You don't listen. What do you go there for? Do you want to talk to him or not? Oh, God doesn't talk to me. Because you don't shut up long enough to listen. And when he tells you what to do, you don't obey. It's so frustrating for me, and I'm a human. Can you imagine his wrath? It's like he's got to be like a huge pressure cooker about to burst and just throw all this fire and brimstone down here. Because it's coming. He's only going to deal with it so long. This is you, and I'm talking to the church because you should know better as his children. You are Christians. You are not worldly people. They don't know. You know who you're there to worship. You know all about him. You know he can throw you body and soul into hell right now. You know he's the Holy of Holies, the Almighty. So why do you talk to him? You wouldn't behave that way in front of freaking Madonna or Taylor Swift or the Queen of England. So why do you give him such disrespect, such little reverence, no fear, what is wrong with you? You don't love Jesus. Don't tell me you love the Lord. Oh, you don't know that, you don't know. No, I know. If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it swims like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I'm calling a spade a spade. The Bible says you will know them by their fruit. Your fruit is so rotten, I can smell it at the front of the altar. Your behavior stinks. And I'm going by what I see only in church on Sunday. So I don't want to know how you're living behind closed doors every other day of the week. God sees it. But if you can't be holy for 45 minutes in the house of the Lord, shame on you. How are you going to last an eternity in front of him? If you can't get this right now, by your own free will and common sense, 45 minutes a week, how are you going to be worthy of being in his kingdom, in his actual presence for all eternity? He can't trust you with little. He can't trust you with a lot. Heaven's a lot to trust you with. Think about this. Slow your roll and think about this. I'm telling you, I'm convicted. And it really bothers me when I am really trying to get this right and all of you around me are not. And I'm talking about the people in my church. I don't care if you don't like me anymore. Shame on you. You want me to call out names? Because I got a list of names. I see what goes on. It's not me. It's not for me to judge. But see, I'm telling you, if I see it, the omnipotent, all-present God sees it. And I'm not holy, but he is. Do you have any idea what you're doing to yourself on Judgment Day? Any idea? Oh, Jesus is love. He loves me. Yes, he does, but he will throw you into hell because he has to. Because the rules are the rules, and you are breaking the rules. Do you understand? I will leave you with this. There are quite a few times in the Bible, and don't give me that Old Testament nonsense or the Jewish nonsense. Do you know that when priests went into the temple back in the day, they had to wrap ropes around their waist, and somebody had to wait outside of, because when they went into the Holy of Holies, a lot of them were struck down dead by God because they did something wrong or had sin on them that they were not aware of or they knew of, and they went in, to the Holy of Holies. And they were struck down dead and their body had to be pulled out by a rope, because if you went in to get the body, you died too. God's not messing around. He wants things done by the book. He said it. He wants it done. You better dot your I's and cross your T's, folks. Stop being lukewarm and cutting corners. Give God all, not half. Not what you feel like. Also, when the Ark of the Covenant was being paraded around, there was a servant or soldier that was walking alongside the Ark. And the Ark was about to fall off the wagon. So, in a goodwill gesture to do what he thought was right, this man put his hand up to hold the Ark from falling off onto the ground. Because you don't want the Ark holding God, falling on the ground. He was struck down dead by God for touching the Ark because he was not a priest. He had no right to touch a holy thing when he was a lay person. A sinful person with sinful hands was not properly religiously cleansed through the purification process, could not even it would have been better for the ark to have fallen over on the ground and be cleaned off and put back together by the proper priests that are allowed to, than for anyone like you and I, a layperson, to just go and touch what is holy. Now, if that's how God feels about the ark, that Eucharist, that white piece of bread that you all think is a potato chip, that you should not be touching with your hands, you should be getting on your knees and having the priest only put it on your tongue. And I see so many of you grab it, drop it, throw it in your pocket, pop it in your mouth like a Tic Tac, and then rub your hand like that. Oh my, how disrespectful. So you have now brought Jesus Christ's body, blood, soul, and divinity down to nothing more than a snack. A cookie that you just ate and then wiped the crumbs off. Meanwhile, my priest is so holy and serious that he goes after Mass. I see him, I help him do this. And he goes around on the carpet with a black light. And any little white speck that might possibly be a crumb, which most of the time it's not, any little particle of the Eucharist, when he's handing it out, he goes and eats it. He's eating dirt and lint and all kinds of stuff from the floor. Oh, that's excessive. That's stupid. No, this is a true priest of God who'd rather eat dirt, just in case, than leave even a little particle of Jesus on the floor from Holy Communion that could be sucked up in a dirty vacuum. Because that little tiny piece is still Jesus. And he's God. And we don't want him trampled on the floor or sucked up in a vacuum cleaner. Do you understand? So he and I eat lint off the floor just to make sure it's not a piece of Holy Communion. So you want to call us crazy fanatics? No, you do not understand who Jesus is, what the Holy Eucharist is, what Catholicism's all about. You do not understand the severity of this, the seriousness. You don't appreciate. So lukewarm or apostate most of you are, because you would never go to that level out of embarrassment, a fear of embarrassment, let alone, or ridicule, let alone God's wrath if you don't. Like, you don't fear God. You fear people, what they're going to say or think about you. You fear your own body, your own health. Oh, I don't want to get germs in my mouth. So what if you die? You die doing that, Jesus is going to reward you mightily, because you died trying to give him the best. And he deserves and commands the best. So when you take yourself and your life so much more seriously than you do Jesus and the Eucharist, I don't see how you're not getting, you're supposed to die to self. You die, he lives. You are nothing. It doesn't matter. Your life doesn't matter. If you die for him, good. That's how this is supposed to be. But you love your life too much, more than you love God. You hold too much onto this world more than you do eternity. And so this is your only reward, the Lord says. He wants you to be willing to lose everything and die for him and shed all your blood for him if that's what he requires of you. Because he already did that for us. You understand? And this is not just for Catholics, this is for Protestants too. Same Jesus. The problem with Protestantism is you don't give him the same kind of high regard, respect that the Catholics do. Real Catholics. Not most of the Catholics. The few remnant faithful Catholics. Not the 400 pew warmers, but the 4 or 5 that are actually going to heaven. Okay? The real Catholics. The trads. We do this for a reason. We don't take chances. So the Protestants, with all their fog machines and acoustic guitars and their, let's go fill a kiddie pool with water and baptize some people. I feel like baptizing some people. And, let's go praise Jesus right now. And, okay. You know what? Is it really about him or you? Who are you loving, him or your flesh? You're not there for him. Because you know how many Protestants tell me, I don't like having to get on my knees and all that pomp and circumstance. I just want to love the Lord. He's my best friend. We're like this. That's not royalty. That's not the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. If the angels fear to even look at him in heaven, what makes you think you're any different? And that if he didn't spare the angels or his own son, what makes you think that you can just go to some church, praise, I plead the blood of Jesus, John 3:16, kumbaya, and just start dancing around and gyrating and prosperity gospel this, and Jesus loves me, and and then you go and get yourself tattooed and dye your hair red, and some of you got your cleavage popping out and you're in spandex pants and you're praising the Lord. Oh yeah, you're real holy. No. You're worldly. Do you see this shirt and these khakis? I finally spent, I don't have any money left now, but I had to get some, I got too fat to fit into my clothing. So I had to wear my work scrubs to church because it looked better than jeans and a sweatshirt. I couldn't fit into anything nice anymore, so I had to wear work scrubs because at least my scrubs are professional because, doctors wear them. It was better to show up in my work uniform to church than in normal clothes. So until I can get the money to buy a couple pairs of khakis and a nice button-up shirt or two, I had to wear scrubs to church, and it was humiliating. And people keep saying, oh, you're working on the weekend? Oh, you're working on a Sunday? No. But you know what? It was better than showing up in jeans or sweatshirt, okay, or sweatpants, especially at Sunday. So I finally got a chance, thanks to Donna letting me borrow some money, which, by the way, my tax return is only $100 between the state and federal. I don't know what's going on, but he said that's it. The more money you make, the less I get back, apparently. So I used to get thousands back, and now I'm just getting less than, I got $80 from the feds and $37 from the state. I was expecting about almost $2,000. I needed that money for things, and now that it's not coming, I'm only going to get like $100, $120. I don't have enough to buy clothing. I don't have enough to fix my car. I don't have enough to get the dog taken care of at the vet. I don't have enough to get my permits redone, my pistol permit, my guard card, all that stuff was up for renewal, my passport. I needed to get these things done, and I don't have enough money again. So I'm screwed again, and that it is what it is. But you know what? So Donna gave me some money so I can finally buy a couple shirts and some pants so I can have something nice to wear to church again. Because I'm always on everybody's case about, they're lowering the bar and showing up dressing like they just got out of a gym or crawled out of bed. I saw, and I'm not making this up, I saw a family wearing feety pajamas one time to church. Okay? Do you mind telling me how you think that's appropriate to go to mass? Not the parents, but the kids. And we're talking teenagers. Wearing feety pajamas to church. You shouldn't be wearing that in the grocery store, let alone church. Are you kidding me? I don't know which worse. A bathing suit or feety pajamas? Give me a break. And what's with spandex pants, tube tops? Gets me so mad because you obviously are showing the world you don't care or you really don't know. You are ignorant. If God forgives you this, it's only because you're so ignorant. But it's really no excuse. You don't teach your kids better. That you're not embarrassed, parents, to let your kids represent your family and you let them go to church like that. Some of you parents are dressed nice, suits and ties and, dresses, but your daughters, their boobs are popping out. You can see their camel toe. Their pants are painted on Daisy Duke shorts with their butt hanging out. Are you kidding me? Looking like prostitutes, and you parade them up to the Eucharist like that. Oh, hi, meet my daughter. She's 13. 13? She looks like Pretty Woman. She looks like a 20-year-old prostitute. My daughter would never leave the house wearing that at 13 years old, let alone go to the Lord like that. I'm getting angry now. It's a righteous anger, but this is what I'm talking about. I cannot deny what I see getting worse every week in this world. But in church, is there anything sacred in this world left? Is there anywhere we can go to be normal? To be conservative? To be Christian? You got to bring that filth into the church? And do you think you're going to get away with it? This is the bigger problem. Well, no, the biggest problem is you're offending my God. Because clearly he's not your God, because he's going to say, I don't know you. You don't do that. But you're damning your soul. And here's another thing. And this was my fault, and I'm going to end the video. Last night was a very important vigil mass because the new archbishop came and did the mass. So it was packed, standing room only. I wanted to get there early enough for confession, but I couldn't, and I needed to get to confession, otherwise I can't receive Holy Communion properly. Now, Donna, she was only, she didn't need to go to confession, so she got to go up. So I had to walk her up, as I always do, but we were stuck in the back. Okay, she found the seat, but I had to stand up and kneel on the concrete in my scrubs, because this was before we went shopping last night to get me some church clothes. And so I felt bad. I had no money to put in the basket, and I'm wearing scrubs, and it was pouring rain. I was soaked, and I looked like a freaking cat dragged me in, and I can't even go up for Holy Communion, but I got to walk up to the bishop and not be able to receive in front of all of these eyes watching me. And I'm talking, there must have been 1,000-something people there. And what I noticed was, we had a lot of people that got there that never come, but they wanted to meet the new bishop. Okay? Most of them were highly inappropriately dressed for the occasion. And so me and Donna go up, we're towards the end, and everybody's watching. And Donna, she can't kneel, but they put the paten under, and they gave her the Holy Communion on her tongue. She's wearing a veil, whatever. Then there's me, and he goes to hand it to me, and I'm like, all I could do was make the sign of the cross and go like this, because I wasn't in a state of grace. I could not receive. You had to see. So he actually said, and so he blessed me with a special bless of protection or whatever, and that was nice, because if you can't receive, the priest is still supposed to give you a blessing. Well, all eyes were on me, and I was humiliated, as I deserve, for being a sinner and not being in a state of grace. And I had to go up because Donna can't walk that far, so I had to hold her up to make sure she didn't fall over while she's trying to receive Holy Communion. So I'm standing there before the Lord and the Archbishop and my priest and my deacon and a huge congregation of people, and I was the only one out of 1,000 people who did not receive Holy Communion. So you can imagine the scandal and everybody like, I wonder what he did, because, he didn't receive. He must be a Protestant. Oh, he must be a really bad sin or something, because, no, you want to know the truth? I didn't get to go to confession first. And yes, I was in mortal sin, but that's not the point. Even if I wasn't, I don't receive anymore if I can get to confession first. And so the priest gave me confession today in the morning. We had to get there early. And Don and I got confession before Mass today, so I got to receive. But I am not going to risk my soul, and even if I'm not going to hell for it, which I would, I'm not going to disrespect the Lord by receiving him unworthily. And you know what? I heard the voice in my head when I was wanting to cry because I really wanted to receive Jesus so badly, like everybody else got to. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Lord, all of these people and not one of them is in mortal sin. You're telling me that every single one of these people and all these children all got to go to confession before receiving you? They're all worthily receiving you? They're all in a state of grace? I know that's not true. And I feel bad for you that you are being abused in the Eucharist because by ignorant people who think it's okay to receive without going to confession, especially if you're in mortal sin. And if you don't know what mortal sin is, it's very easy to do, even with just your mind or heart. You don't even have to look at pornography or masturbate without being in mortal sin. You use the Lord's name in vain by accident. You look at somebody with lust, you're already in mortal sin. And so you're not to receive without going to confess that. So on the way back, literally in tears, everybody's staring at me. I'm embarrassed. And I'm feeling like such a piece of garbage, so unworthy to be there because everybody else is a saint. And I'm the only one that couldn't receive the Lord because I'm a bad sinner. And I hear this voice inside. Thank you. You are the only one that actually respects me enough to not do that. I want you to be an example. Your heroic virtue shows other people their error. Somebody's got to make it clear that you don't do that if you're not ready. all these people are receiving unworthily. They're damning their souls and they're offending God. And here I am feeling terrible because I didn't offend him, because I didn't dare receive, and I wanted to, but I knew, like the man who touched the ark unworthily, or, I wasn't going to be that guy anymore. And because Jesus deserves better. And who do you think he respects more, loves more? The person who abstains from receiving, I'm not going to just do what everybody else is doing, but I'm going to do it right? Or the people who follow the crowd and say, oh, well, everybody else is doing it, so I'll do it. I don't want to be that one guy that everybody looks at because he didn't receive. Well, yeah, it is humiliating. And that was my first meeting with the Archbishop. And you had to see the look on his face like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I can't. How embarrassing. I talked to him afterwards, He's a little on the liberal side anyway, so he probably didn't care, but you know what I mean? But that was a chance that even though I offended God with my sin, I'm making it up to him by doing the right thing. I'll wear a scarlet letter if I have to, and let everybody see a big S, sinner, or A for abomination if I have to. If that's what pleases the Lord, so be it. I'd rather be humiliated in front of millions than offend God. Somebody's got to put their foot down and start doing this right and not take chances. Jesus doesn't need to be abused in the sacrament. He doesn't want to be taken for granted or trampled like that, or seen as just a memory. We do this in memory of you, or treated like he's a potato chip. So even what the devil meant for my bad, by getting me to fall into temptation so I couldn't receive the Lord made it up to me today. He got me confession right before Mass, and it was a beautiful service and whatever. And so, but it was my fault, and I owned up to it, is what I'm saying. I didn't just say, "Oh, poor me, I'm not going to go now. It's ruined. I'm too embarrassed." No. I still went up there and got the blessing anyway, which I do anyway. And I go up to the Lord and I say, "Lord, I'm not worthy. I can't receive you. I'm sorry. I'm a Judas, but you know what? I'm still here. So forgive me, please, and I'll get it right next time." And that's it. And I go back. And, I do that for him. It's almost like if Judas Iscariot himself had actually apologized like Peter did, he wouldn't be in hell. If he had gone back and said, "Lord, I'm sorry. I sold you for 30 pieces of silver. I was so stupid. Please forgive me." But instead, he was so ashamed he hung himself. He should have just gone and apologized, and Jesus would have said, "I forgive you. I'm going to die on that cross pretty soon, and so I will die for you also because you repented." But he didn't. He killed himself. Now, Peter denied him 3 times and still gets to be the first pope. And Jesus told him he was going to do that, and he still did it, and then Jesus still forgave him. Then there's the thief on the cross who never got a chance to go to confession or Mass or do anything right, and he got to go to heaven that very day by just saying, "Lord, I'm sorry, and I believe in you. Please forgive me." Boom. Okay? So yeah, I'll walk the walk of shame in front of everybody, if that's what it takes, to be a good example to the rest. The only problem is that the shame of it all is none of those people probably realized what I was doing or care. They're not going to care. They're not going to change. They're just going to keep doing it anyway. But on Judgment Day, the Lord will say, "Do you remember seeing people like Steve doing the right thing when you didn't? That happened for a reason. You should have learned by example the right way." In other words, God wants and deserves in these times for you to be one of the few and the brave enough to go against the grain, and even if you have to be ashamed or killed, do it anyway for love of him. How much do you want to go up? Because it's very easy to go down for eternity, but it's not easy to go up. And if you want to be one of those few, then you have got to be willing to even die for him. So if I'm not willing to be publicly humiliated in front of a church of 1,000+ people and an archbishop, then I'm not going to be willing to get my head cut off for Jesus either. So you see what I'm saying? These little humiliations, or it's like large humiliations, build character and strength and prove who the real saints are from the wolves. You see what I'm saying? So do it anyway. Like, don't go, do it right. Follow the rules. Even if everybody else is not. Do not join the crowd. It's common sense, folks. When everybody's going left, you go right. Run. So, and last but not least, I posted on my Facebook page. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel in my soul something. And it's definitely the perfect time. This eclipse coming on April 8th, the government has issued warnings. Why would the government, unless they are worried about something now supernatural happening, start saying, please stock up on stuff, gas, batteries, whatever. Make a plan with your family in case of an emergency. Try not to travel too much. There's going to be gridlock traffic that day. Get your gas in advance, your groceries in advance. Take your money out of your ATMs now because you won't have access to the banks. It's just an eclipse, right? Or is it? 3 days of darkness? The warning? To make matters worse, the Garabandal prophecy. What was it? Lucinta or what was her name? That woman, Conchita. The Blessed Mother told her she would tell her when to reveal to the world a certain amount of, I think 8 days or whatever, whatever in advance, that before the warning or whatever was going to happen. And the great miracle in the pines over there in Garabandal. Well, Conchita has finally revealed the date. And she says that the Blessed Mother said it can happen anytime now between March 18th and April 8th. So, 3 days of darkness or the warning, she's not sure which one's going to come first. But one of those could possibly happen anytime now between March and April. So, or April 8th, the eclipse, the Nineveh eclipse. So, now the government's getting ready for something. It's kind of funny because they don't believe, supposedly, or do they? And they're still preparing for something just in case. So, if you know anything about the warning, you're going to experience 15 minutes in heaven or 15 minutes in hell or purgatory, depending on where you're going when you die right now. And God is going to do this for mankind, if it's true, if it happens, to give us ample warning to repent, and so we know what sins we still have to repent of. Because some of us go to confession all the time, but we might have sins that we're not aware of that can send us to hell, and we can't repent of them or confess them if we're not aware of them, right? So this warning is God's way of being charitable and saying, hey, if you were to die right now, this is the state of your soul. This is where you're spending eternity. You're going to see your little part of hell or purgatory or heaven. Most people will be in hell. And the prophecy goes to say that many people will go to hell permanently because the fear that's going to grip them from the experience of the pain and suffering is literally going to cause their hearts to fail, and they're going to not wake up. They're going to die, and they're going to stay where they are because that's where they're going when they die anyway. So if this doesn't kill them, they have a chance to come back and repent and confess. But if they do die during this warning because of fear or pain, they're going to stay where they are. If they're in purgatory, they're staying there for a long time. If they're in hell, they're there forever. They've been judged. So I hope this thing doesn't really actually happen. This illumination of conscience, the warning, but if I'm in hell, I'm probably going to stay there because I'm going to die of fright, but in 15 minutes burning in fire, do you see why people are going to die and not come back from that? Now, if it's just 3 days of darkness, we got a bigger problem on our hands. And here's the other thing. I did some research, because they said that when Jesus died, there was an eclipse or something. It got dark, right? Darkness, dark black came over the earth that hour, or right? Or for 3 hours or something like that. No eclipse lasts that long. No darkness lasts that long, right? So I did the research, and I found out that there were no solar or lunar eclipses that day at all. So what caused total darkness and an earthquake and the temple to be broken, other than God, obviously? What could cause that? So if you don't think that this solar eclipse that's coming could actually last for 3 solid days, then you got something else coming. Yes, it can. Because it's not natural. It's Him doing it. God's doing it. So you have to understand that we don't know what we're facing. But this April 8th eclipse could very well be the 3 days of darkness, or it could last a lot. It could last a long time. I don't know. Because God can stop things from moving. He can keep the moon stuck in front of the sun long enough for 3 days, you know. But He doesn't even need an eclipse to do it, is what I'm saying. So we're going to see something. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going to come first, or when, or what, or if any of these things are going to be literal. But Don and I are getting some stuff just to prepare. I'm picking up some more things to black out the windows today, just in case, because I'm not taking any chances. It's been on my heart for a while to make sure that I got the candle already blessed and all that stuff. I'm not taking any chances. I want to make sure I don't have everything they say you need, but I'm trying. My priest doesn't believe in any of it, so he won't give me the chrism oils and the St. Michael oil. He won't help me with all this preparation. I can't find a priest around here who actually will help me, except for the one who did help me to get some of the stuff together. And that was my spiritual director, Father Bill McCarthy, but he died in 2021. So I don't have him anymore. He was also preparing for the 3 days of darkness and for the chastisement, and he was doing the divine holy will and all that stuff. He was a real holy, charismatic priest, but he was also shunned by a lot of other clergy because he was a fanatic. He was into all these prophecies, and he believed in Garabandal and all these other things. So he made a life of researching this for 88 years. He was ordained. He went into minor seminary at 12 years old. He knew he wanted to be a priest since birth. He died a virgin at 88 years old. The guy was exceptional. He was very holy. He had a lot of books. His name was Michael. Father, oh gosh. Man, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. It's been a few years, but I'll think of it. But anyway, I have a lot of his books and stuff. And Bill McCarthy, Father Bill McCarthy. He also started the Religious Order of Holy Apostles in Connecticut and the seminary there, which ended up becoming a disastrous gay pipeline and caused a major scandal. But it wasn't his fault. That happened after he established it. Some bad people got in there, and it became a real problem. Connecticut has always been the hub for a lot of this seminary scandal. So, and our archdiocese is also notorious for it. So, anyway, we're just very blessed to have the priest that we have for the time we have him, because I've gone to all these other churches around here and nobody is like him, and he is so rare. So, he's one of those that he's always afraid of being defrocked or whatever because he's so traditional. They won't let him do the Latin Mass anymore. He was doing that, whatever. They took that away. So, anyway, I'm just saying, I'm as prepared as I can be. You got to stay in a state of grace, otherwise it doesn't work and the candle will not light. It's got to be made out of beeswax, and it's got to be blessed by a priest. So I have that, but if it doesn't light, then that means either her or I are not in a state of grace, and that means we're not protected and we could die during the 3 days. So like I said, my priest is saying don't listen to that stuff. It's not really going to happen. It's not literal. I'm not taking chances. So anyway, Don has been sleeping for the whole time I've been talking because it's hot in here. I got the door open. All the people in the parking lot are giving me dirty looks for preaching in the parking lot like this. They walk by and... you know what? I'm fresh out of Mass, fresh out of confession. I just received Jesus, right, a couple hours ago, full of the Holy Spirit, and everybody else around here who doesn't go to church, they just don't even know why they don't like you. It's their demons. Their demons don't like the light I have in me. And when you talk about this stuff, ooh, it gets them so angry. I've gotten so many dirty looks the whole time I've been making this video from everybody that walked by. Do you hear what he's saying? I hear what they say. I just ignore them and keep talking because they need to hear this. But whatever. Hey, they'll all see soon enough. And even if all these amazing events don't come to pass, which I kind of hope they don't for my sake, you know, I will tell you this. On Judgment Day, they're going to see how very real Jesus and heaven and hell are. So I'm not worried about it. Sooner or later, God will not be mocked. He will get his way. And those who belong in heaven, who deserve it, who have worked hard for it, they'll get there. Anybody, even if it's me, who ends up in hell, we deserve it. So, really, you know, I'm not worried. I'm just going to do the best I can to not end up in hell, to lead as many to the truth as possible. I'm getting a lot of, people, constantly telling me, oh, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that, I think you're wrong there, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that. I'm not listening anymore. I don't have time to keep answering emails and all these solo scriptura people. Like, just stop. Please just stop. Oh, and the anti-Marian garbage. Oh my gosh, the Protestants hate the Blessed Mother. How can you hate Jesus' mother? I don't care if I get it, but like, that's still the woman who gave birth to Jesus regardless. So she's very valuable to him either way. Do you want your mother disrespected? So then why would you dare deny and disrespect the mother of Jesus Christ? Do you really think he's going to take kindly to that, Protestants? Bashing his mother, ignoring her, saying that she's not, she just gave birth to him and that's it. Like she's just some kind of breeder cow. We just use her to breed, like puppies or something, and that's it. Okay, she served her part, that's it. She's just a human like us. She did her part. Don't give her any more attention. What are you, stupid? The woman raised him 33. Honestly, just the audacity of the ignorance. I'm going to make a movie of that. It's going to be called The Audacity of the Ignorance. It sounds like a horror movie, because it is horror. This is horrifically scary, knowing that I live in a world of 8 billion horrifically ignorant people who have the audacity to be this ignorant. God help us. We don't stand a chance. If God doesn't end things soon, we will destroy ourselves just out of ignorance. This world is not going to survive long. It's going to implode anyway, because people are just so stupid they're killing themselves. Like, we're killing the world, we're killing the planet, we're killing our children, we're killing society, we're killing our fruits and vegetables, we're killing everything. We're that stupid. It's a culture of death. And so, you know what? We deserve it. We deserve what we get. And if God doesn't stop us, we will destroy the planet. It's just a matter of time, because we're that ignorant. We are horrifically ignorant. Anyway, I gotta go. I've said a lot in this video. I didn't want to make the video, but while it was fresh in my mind, and I'm not going to be able to rest until I say what I gotta say, because this does need to be said. And I know it's not going to reach all the people it should. And even the people who know they're guilty of this stuff are still going to ignore this and not listen or change anyway. But I did the best I could to reach them. I'm planting seeds. That's it. That's all I can do. I'm just really ashamed of a lot of the people, my fellow Catholics, who act so stupid in church. Honestly. There's no excuse for that. You have the fullness of the faith, not just sola scriptura, the fullness of the faith, and you behave this way. And what's worse, God knows that you know better. He knows that you've been given a chance to have the fullness, all the sacraments, everything. And you tread on it lightly like this, you take it for granted. I don't want to be you on Judgment Day. Nope. I don't even want to have to face my Judgment Day, and I'm trying. I am trying. The rest of you, hey. Again, I'm not surprised. He said it would be this way, and he said few will make it into the kingdom. So I'm just trying to be one of those few. If you guys don't make it, that's on you. You had your chance. Everybody's got a chance. You could make it. He wishes for none to perish. But he already knows the end from the beginning, and he already knows that only a few are going to make it. I just hope I'm one of the few. God bless.